Next, a conversation with Simon Wiesenthal, the man who dedicated most of his life to tracking Nazi war criminals all over the world and bringing them to trial. This week, the United States, Israel, and other countries are observing a week of remembrance of the millions of Hitler's victims. In the Capitol Rotunda today, members of Congress and survivors of the Holocaust lit candles in memory of the Jews and other Europeans murdered in such places as Auschwitz and Ravensbrück, or who died resisting the Nazis in such places as the Warsaw Ghetto. Earlier today, I talked with Simon Wiesenthal, whose most recent book, Justice, Not Vengeance, has just been published. Mr. Wiesenthal, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Are there many perpetrators of the Holocaust, criminals, still alive and at large today?
I think thousands.
Thousands.
Germans, Austrians, and voluntary collaborators of Nazis in different countries of the world. But it's going everything to a biological end. Criminals die, witnesses die, I will die. But how long people from these two generations are alive, the matter must remain an open matter and as a warning for the future, that these people, they commit crimes, will never rest. Next week, May 3, will be extradited to Germany a man for whom we was looking a few decades, 48 years after the crime.
Extradited from where?
From Argentina to Germany. 48 years after the crime. 9,000 miles from the place of the crime. The man has absolutely no political influence, nothing, 78 years old. And maybe the doctors will declare him unfit to stand a trial or unfit to be in prison. This is the warning. Because...
This is the warning?
Yes, because it's possible that the murderers of tomorrow are born today. They should know that they will never rest, like these murderers are not resting. And they are sleepless nights. They don't know if we know them or not know them, but they believe that we know them. This is a part of the sentence.
A part of the sentence is to give them sleepless nights, because you'll never catch all of them before they die.
Absolutely.
What difference is it going to make in the search, the removing of the communist yoke from Eastern Europe?
This is a big problem. For an example, East Germany. This was the most perfect police state. Maybe I can give you two figures to understand it. The population of Greater Germany, including Austria and a part of Czechoslovakia, was 80 million. And the Gestapo had 40,000 members. They are watching this 80 millions. The 16 or 17 millions of East Germans had their secret service in the same way like the Gestapo, officially 105,000. Plus what we know today, 500,000 of informers. Their political party, the SED, the Socialist Party, there was 2.3 million from 12 million adults. This is a schizophrenic situation. The population are after 57 years of dictatorship. Because after the 12 years of the Nazi dictatorship, they jump in 45 years dictatorship of the communists. In East Germany, a man who took part in the free election before Hitler must be today 79 years old. So, and now you must unite these two parts. The partition, this was a punishment of the world for the crimes of the Nazis. but not a punishment forever. But the process of unification should be slow.
Let me ask you this, a number of questions about that. One is, what was your reaction to the apology to the Jews, which was almost the first act of the freely elected new government of East Germany?
I can give only my personal reaction. I have not the right to speak in the name of other Jews. West Germany is today a real democratic freedom country with democratic parties, and we know what we can expect from them. It's Western European style. East Germany is for us something that we don't know. What is it? From the Jewish point of view, they have done nothing during 45 years to recognize a part of their guilt, and their policy was anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli. They had places that they trained the terrorists, equipped them. And overnight, naturally, the population say, we are Democrats. But the European political situation make it so that is not time for an assimilation of the eastern part to the western part. First of all, there are two reasons.
And yet you have, all through the years when you have been the relentless Nazi war criminal hunter, as you're known throughout the world, you have never adopted the idea of collective guilt.
No.
Germany...
I had never also a help from East Germany. They never answer a letter. They was not interested that criminals in the Western world become trials. For their internal and external propaganda, they need the picture that in the West, all the big murderers are free. They never answer a request for juridical help from West Germany.
Well, are you saying that from a Jewish point of view, then, the East Germans are morally incompetent to be united with the West Germans, that the West Germans have absolved their role by admitting it and by 40 years of democratic institutions?
This cannot be say in that way like you say this. Why? Because we know a population under a dictatorship. What they are doing is not their free will. And 70% of the population is born after the war. We cannot make them responsible for the crimes of their grandfathers or maybe fathers.
And yet, let me put something to you. You say in your book, Hitler morally destroyed, millions of Germans and millions of Austrians. What's more, for generations to come, it isn't only the Holocaust victims who were victims, but morally, the others.
Naturally, because...
Now, how does that square with no collective...
I will tell you. We believe that 150,000 commit crimes, but 10.5 million was members of the Nazi Party. With only a few numeral exceptions, can be on the fingers of two hands, people say open, we are against. This means that morally they know what's going on. Only this was for them not opportune to open their mouths.
But how does that infect their children, you say, and what's more, for generations to come?
Yes, because the generation of the Nazis never talk about the crimes, even after the war, to the young generation. They keep silent. And their silence to young people not talking to them, not to make the same errors like they had made when they was young, is from the moral point of view, that's not nice.
Let's talk about young people in this country. I'm interested in your warning about Americans. You say that young Americans think that culture and civilization will prevent the beast in us from breaking out again. You don't think so?
I will tell you, you have in your country 50, 60 organizations with a number of people absolutely right-wing. They are anti-Semitic, they are pro-Nazi. I have talked with some senators and congressmen about the problem because, in my opinion, maybe I am wrong, I'm an admirer of the First Amendment, but I cannot understand how it's a law to misuse the First Amendment for bigotry, for slander, and this going on. And when we look on some magazines, they are printed in this country, and I'm telling you, I'm a friend of United States, and I will never forget that I was liberated by the American Army. Every year, I'm going to some American military cemeteries in Luxembourg and Holland, bring flowers to the GIs, because I know they pay with their life for our freedom. And I know that without the United States, we will be all slaves of the Nazis or slaves of the communists. This has nothing to do that I cannot close the eyes when I see that in that country that I love, it's possible to print such newspapers, like in the Nazi period.
May I ask you this? You close your book. In fact, the very last sentence is a warning that democracies, like the United States, must learn to give young people a meaning to their lives. What is the fear behind that warning?
I will tell you this. Freedom is not a gift from the heaven. You must fight for it every day. When some people ask me what you say, and I am coming on so many colleges, universities, and I say, remember it. They are in the world a big number of injustice. You as young people, you cannot fight against big injustices, but also against smaller. And this is very important, that injustice see a border. This is because I think of the mistakes that my generation made when I was a young man in the 20s. We were so believing in the progress of our century, in humanity, in friendship, in justice, that when we hear about a man with the name Hitler and hear his ideas, it's, this is impossible. This man cannot have a chance in a country of philosophers, of thinkers, of inventors, of absolutely, maybe in Asia, maybe in Africa. And we had not fight against the begin. And later, when the crisis was coming, it was too late. And a part of my work is to talk to young people and also to publish books with my ideas, because we should people prepare, recognize danger, and not to believe, the world, the friendship we have seen. This had no value.
Well, Mr. Wiesenthal, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.